The void rarely keeps secrets for long, but the signal that crossed the Vorith sector that night was a ghost, a distress code on a frequency dead for 40 years. On the repair station Crestfall, drifting at the edge of civilized space, Lieutenant Cal Donahue felt the weight of the silence break. It wasn't a corporate call. It wasn't military. It was an Imperial cipher. 11,000 years. That is how long the Vorith Dominion had sailed the stars before humanity understood the atom. And now, their most precious jewel, the Sovereign Light, the Empress's own flagship, was screaming for help in the dark. Commander Diane Lowe did not hesitate, but the reality was bitter. The Crestfall was a backwater workshop, filled with the smell of scorched wiring and recycled coolant. How could 3 human engineers save what the 28 brightest minds of the Dominion deemed lost? The Mark 11 warp core is not just a machine, it is an instrument of pure physics. A matrix of crystalline spires that generate harmonics to tear through the fabric of space-time. A debris impact had shattered the sequence. To the Vorith, the system was dead. If a string on an 11,000-year-old instrument snaps, the music stops. For them, perfection was the only path. But humanity? We were never perfect. We are specialists at surviving among the shards. As they entered the drive chamber, the heat was nearly unbearable, the fever of a dying machine. Pete Gordo, a man who spent his life fixing what others discarded, did something the Vorith would consider a sacrilege. He listened to the machine. Laura's strategy was bold. If you cannot replace the broken string, you tune the rest of the instrument so the chord still resolves. It is the engineering of necessity, while the Vorith watched with a mix of skepticism and silent despair. Laura and Pete began mapping 94 surviving nodes. They weren't following the manual. They were improvising a new symphony over a scar of glass. 10 hours passed. The northern sector of the core began to overheat. Physics was fighting against the human solution. Vel, a young Vorith engineer, broke millennia of protocol to ask, "May I help?" At that moment, the barrier between empires fell. They were no longer humans and aliens. They were minds seeking order in the chaos. The Empress, observing young Laura, asked Cal how long she had studied that technology. The Empress realized then what made this young species so dangerous, and yet so vital. While the Vorith studied for decades to achieve perfection, humans grew up embracing the flaw. Hour 17, the final adjustment. The warp core didn't return to its original glory. It operated at 68% capacity. A thermal scar still marked the system. But the Sovereign Light breathed again. The most advanced fleet in the galaxy was saved by worn-out calibration tools and the stubbornness of those who never accepted the impossible. As a reward, Laura asked for no gold or titles. She asked for knowledge. She asked for Vel's logs. She wanted the language of an empire so she could fix the next problem even faster. The Empress left with a new understanding of the inhabitants of the periphery. "They are young," she said, "the same way fire is young. Destructive, unpredictable, and capable of illuminating the deepest darkness." The Crestfall returned to its silence, but the universe seemed a little smaller that night. At Zenith Imperium, we learned that the destiny of humanity is not in our machines, but in our refusal to let them stop working. If you seek stories where mystery meets the final frontier, you are in the right place.